What's up, everybody? I want to tell you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting Anchor on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download Anchor, the app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. And I'm a veteran, so let's hear some more military cadences. What's up, family? Happy holidays. This will be my last podcast for this week until we start over so I can go and get fat. I've been eating healthy and I am ready to get fat. So, let's hop into today's show. There's plenty of things that I want to play, and I had some pre-recording things. So let's get into what we're going to be talking about here. First up is...
So I was going to be off this topic because, out of respect to victims and stuff. But then I saw this video of Anderson Lee Aldridge from June 2021. And then I was like, because this is what I mean about the difference in crime, like the sentencing. And this kid had his charges dropped for doing the same thing that Grandmaster Jay, who is over the NFAC coalition, who just was sentenced on November 14th to 7 years for allegedly pointing a gun towards, even though he was very far away, towards police. So let me know what y'all think about this video.
We just have seen some new video just released that appears to show the shooting suspect ranting about police during a 2021 standoff. Let's watch. Watch this.
This is your boy. I've got the heads outside. Look at that. They got a beat on me. You see that right there? Heads got their rifles out. If they breach, I'm gonna blow it to holy hell. So, go ahead and come on in, boys. Let's see it.
I said, Nick, what are you learning about this video and this history?
Well, Wolf, this video was from the summer of 2021, and there is another piece of video that was captured by a doorbell camera that actually shows the suspect walking out of the house with his hands up and giving himself up to sheriffs after a fairly lengthy negotiation. Now, what happened is the suspect's mother had called 911 to say that her son was threatening her with a bomb and other weapons. So that has led to a lot of people around here questioning, well, how was he allowed to buy these handguns? This handgun and this rifle, because, we have been told by two law enforcement officials that records show this suspect did purchase these weapons himself. So people are asking, why was there no background check? Why were red flags not raised by this previous interaction? Well, here is what we just found out. In 2019, the law here in Colorado was changed, and no charges were ever pursued against the suspect for that summer 2021 incident. So therefore, under Colorado law, if a case is dismissed for whatever reason, those records are sealed. So that would not have flagged him as a potential problem.
So
this incident...
So not funny, haha, funny, weird, because I know where I'm from. If you make a bomb threat, it doesn't matter if the person dismisses the charges, the state picks it up. So, yeah, dude, this is going to look...
So, yeah, and also with that, and these are pre-recorded because I hate searching for news stories for you guys. So, Also, with that too, is that the fact that he also, because his grandfather's like the governor, he's a Republican governor, so he's been arrested plenty of other times for things, and he has, not been charged. He would always say, like, you do know who my grandpa is and stuff like that. So, yeah, wild. So I think also nepotism and things like that is really bad because kids sometimes think they can get away with all crimes, and it happens plenty of times. Let's go into this Uber and like Mexico's having some really bad time with travel for Americans or people in general, like right now. Let's get into this story about Uber.
Okay, so the news in Mexico is just won't quit right now. There's a fake Uber crisis occurring in Mexico, and Cancun authorities warn visitors. They're warning tourists about a fake Uber crisis going on as a conflict continues between Uber and the taxi drivers. Apparently, hackers have hacked the WhatsApp accounts of the Uber drivers to connect to their Uber accounts. From there, they make fake Uber accounts and charge for services. But what is likely more dangerous is the fact that customers of the popular rideshare app could get driven in an unknown vehicle that the company hasn't approved. Authorities are still working on fixing the crisis. Tourists and Uber shares and users are being warned to stay away from fake Uber drivers. If they believe they have come across a fake account, they should cancel the ride and contact authorities. Users also should be concerned if the Uber asks for personal information because the real Uber platforms already provide that information, and riders should be suspicious if a driver asks them questions. The president of Mexican Association of Travel Agencies, Eduardo Pinanga, sent out the warning saying that anyone using the Uber platform could be in danger. We're in danger on the issue of personal safety because we do not know who are the people that represent this alleged Uber service. For now, tourists are encouraged to hire private drivers or book their own transportation needs with reputable companies to read the rest of the law. So Uber has been under fire. If you guys ever watched that movie about Uber and the way they treat their drivers, they don't have good relationships. Uber is problematic. I know, actually, anytime I've ever gone to Mexico, I take taxis. I don't even really mess with Uber. But yeah, y'all be careful if y'all are traveling to Mexico and using Uber, because, be careful you travel, period. You got to watch your credit card, and that's just not for Mexico. That's any place that you travel internationally, or if you travel nationally. So just be careful out there, guys. It's a lot of scamming going on.
So yeah, let's get into another pre-recorded. And this is on the Shanquella Robinson, whose friends killed her. Let's see.
Here is the latest on Shanquella Robinson case, guys.
Spanish, so all information is coming from a translation of that article. But the news outlet says the report from Mexican authorities shows a doctor came to the hotel and tried to revive Shanquella around 3:15 p.m. on October 29th. Her friends told the doctor she drank a lot of alcohol. The article goes on to say that the doctor advised her friends to take her to a clinic, but they refused and requested she be treated on site. 2 hours later, the doctor says that she had a seizure and a friend called 911. Her breathing and pulse stopped, so the doctor tried to revive her, and the article says she was pronounced dead just before 6 o'clock that night. Now, the report lists cardiopulmonary arrest as the reason police were called. Metropolitics also reports the FBI is investigating the omission of information from authorities and doctors because the official autopsy report, well, it doesn't match the police report. As you might know, it has been widely reported across America now. The autopsy says her cause of death was a spinal cord injury. And then, of course, there's this video that appears to show Robinson getting beat up before her death. It has gone viral. Well, the news outlet in Mexico names the person who appears to be hitting her and the person they say was taking the video. No one has been charged yet, but the news report says both people are being investigated. Now, when we first spoke with Shanquella Robinson's parents a few weeks ago, they told WBTV that her friends' stories didn't match up. WBTV has not independently confirmed this, but we are working to get our hands on that police report written by authorities in Cabo.
So yeah, this is just getting worse. The fact that they just didn't have a conscience. I'm still trying to understand their frame of mind of knowing that she was there and they packed her bags. A lot of people are saying, I cannot wait till they go to prison. People are saying, I do not understand how they have not been charged yet. They lied to the doctor saying she drank. I hope they have them on some kind of house arrest, because God forbid these people take off running or they try to unalive themselves before they face their the court and judicial system, because to not have justice for this is just horrible. Just other things from her having a seizure and everything, it's just like, oh my gosh. I just can't believe that these people slept at night. Like, this happened on October 29th. It is like November 23rd. And these people slept and acted like they was up in the mama's face. The mother said that somebody came over. One of them was coming over the house every day. And then when the autopsy came back, they stopped visiting. Like, these people, they don't ever deserve to get out of prison. They have no conscience at all. It's terrible. It's just terrible. Let me know what y'all think.
So yeah, that was really horrible. Let's get into one more Airbnb. 3 people that were found dead in Mexico during the Day of the Dead.
Alright, Airbnbs are already like a red flag for me already, and this just gives me more pause. So this happened back on October 30th. These 3 Americans were found dead in a Mexican Airbnb. They were there celebrating the Day of the Dead. One of the victims, Jasmine, had confided to her boyfriend back in the U.S. that she was feeling ill in the hours leading up to her death. When he could no longer reach her, the concerned spouse reached out to the Airbnb host and asked him to check on the group. Shortly after, the host informed him that the 3 had been found unresponsive. Mexican authorities suspect no foul play as of right now, but they believe that there was a water heater that was improperly installed that caused the carbon monoxide poisoning. Jasmine Marshall, the sister of Jordan, told People she says the U.S. Embassy in Mexico informed her father of the grim news. Though the investigation remains open, they work to identify who installed the water heater. The group's tragic ending has placed a spotlight on Mexico, which has been the scene of several suspicious deaths and tourist deaths. On October 29th, Shanquella Robinson was found dead in her villa as well. What do y'all think? Because, at first Mexican authorities said that Shanquella it wasn't a homicide until the autopsy was done. People are saying Airbnb needs to make a requirement to have carbon monoxide alarms. I'm like, do I need to pack a carbon monoxide detector as well now on vacation, as well as everything else? You got to pack a water kit, carbon monoxide, just everything. Some people are taking Mexico off their bucket list. Yeah. Bring a carbon monoxide alarm when you travel to these resorts. Can't depend on them. Please, if you haven't traveled to Mexico, do not speak bad about the country. The hospitality is top-notch compared to America. Everyone is friendly and welcoming. Yes, there are certain places you shouldn't go, just like there are certain places in America you shouldn't go. So you please don't hate on my fellow Mexicans. They're not hating. They're just making people aware. I actually happen to like Mexico as well. Like, of all the places I visited, they do have the best hospitality. With that being said, if things happen, you should share so other people can be aware. Yeah, it's sad. Rest in peace to those people and their families.
So that is the news for today. Let's get into some stories. Let's get out of this, once again, depressing hellhole we found ourselves in. That is the news. Let's go ahead and get started.
I feel like we don't speak about this enough is people don't realize how often men are experiencing a lack of intimacy. And the only place that they can experience that intimacy is through sex. We've created a society where men are so afraid to be vulnerable with each other, to be, sensitive with each other, to care for each other, to love each other. Even saying that as a guy, you always have to change and be like, you can't just say, I love you. You have to be like, I love you, dog. You know what I mean? You got to throw it, like you can't just say it. And it's interesting because that is where I do feel women have done a much better job of being there intimately for each other. Not sexually, but intimately. And I think we take for granted how much in society men who say sex is the thing they're not getting are actually struggling with a lack of companionship, of intimacy, of being in a space with a person where they're sharing, everything from serotonin to endorphins to what humans need to feel, And I hope we can change that conversation just a little bit more. I hope we get to the place where guys go, oh, I actually didn't need the sex. I needed to be held. And I live in a society where it's hard to be held unless I'm having sex. Because as guys, you can't just go to a guy and be like, just hold me. True. There are many sex workers who've talked about this, where they'll talk about how many men will pay them and then say, hey, can we just talk? Can you just hold me?
That is true. I mean, men, they have a hard time showing their vulnerability and intimacy. I know for my husband, and that's why sometimes I'm not a fan of when people say, like, men, give us their personal space, or if I'm not in the mood, I don't be with my husband, but they just want to be with you. I mean, your husband is not the enemy. I know the patriarchy is an evil place, but your husband or boyfriend is not the evil person, guys. Like, that's just how they show intimacy. The same way we want to know everybody's love language. This is some men, not all, but it's a lot of men. I know my husband is one. He's very touchy-feely. And I know he just wants to be close to me, because we're busy, we work a lot. And so the little bit of time we get together, he's always hugging me or laying on me or something. And, I let him do it most of the time if I'm like really cranky. But I do understand that's his need to be close to me. He's not going to be like, he's not going to say it because he's a Neanderthal. But anyway, let's go to the next one.
My husband sent me a seemingly innocent text message, and it helped me discover that he'd been cheating for years. Part 1. He had sent me a text message that he went to church. He told me that he was at a training with a work buddy. He was out of state in North Carolina. This was not odd. It wasn't typical that he was out of state for work trainings, but when I say it wasn't odd, I mean it wasn't odd in our marriage. I never had a reason to suspect him of anything, really. I was pleased. I was so excited to get his text message, and I too was interested in this amazing service. He was like, the artist on stage, the recording artist on stage, like, this is their name, so you can find them later. He tells me all this information because he wants to share it with me, and so that I can find this amazing music later. I Google the artist and the date, and pops right up. The problem was that this amazing artist was singing at a church that day in Knoxville, Tennessee, not in Asheville, North Carolina, which is where he told me he was. My stomach just started to hurt so bad because I knew that he was lying to me. I knew that I needed to start looking quick. I found the church's social media. They recorded their services. So by the time that I found this, they had already published and recorded the services for that day. I watched this video, I don't know how many times, but when I saw him, I think I had one of those moments, right, that I just had, where I was really speechless. He was standing there, big as day, texting me with one hand and holding another woman's hand with the other.
This is a sad way, but it's proof. I just hope that she left him, because some people see proof and then they'll still find a reason how they can manipulate it and twist it. Let's get to the next one.
If you're dating someone that suffers with depression, there are signs you can pay attention to. Here's a few. They're going to be tired often. Urge them to get up anyway. They won't have an appetite. Make them food anyway. They're not going to want to go out. They're going to want to be by themselves often. You got to urge that person to be social. They're going to make a mistake or have an accident and they might bust out crying. Your job is to make sure that they understand it's not a big deal and they're not being over dramatic. Tell that person how attractive they are. If it's a male or a female, you let them know how beautiful or handsome this person is. And then you reassure them of their value to you, that you will never leave. It's not them questioning your love or loyalty. Depression comes with anxiety. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's impossible to understand. But if it's confusing for us, imagine how that person feels. They are fighting an internal battle that nobody sees but them. So be their support system. Love hard and never give up on them.
I agree with him on looking for the signs. Listen, this is a new society that we live in, that everybody is self-absorbed. So all the other stuff he mentioned sounds good, but we just don't live in that society anymore where people are just doing all the extra stuff, telling them, I'm not going to leave you, I'm with you. More power to you if you can do that. You know, obviously I'm with my husband. Those are things I would say to him, but he's like my life partner. But if it's just my boyfriend, I don't know if I'm doing all that. Because we're all kind of suffering from some kind of mental anguish right now. And it's a daily struggle for everyone. I think noting the signs of depression, paying attention, encouraging them to get help. But should you take that task on yourself? No. I think you should encourage them to get help. I think you should try to motivate them, but not at the expense of your health as well. I mean, that sounds selfish, but if you are not married to people, I don't feel like you should just be bending over backwards for people. I'm sorry. Like, life is hard right now for everybody. We're in inflation. We got all kind of stuff going on. Like, I'm sorry. Let's go to the next one.
Wow, why the fuck you say the earth is flat? I mean, you threw our whole career away and then just fade to black? You just gonna disappear and not address the elephant? Man, get back to the elements. This new shit irrelevant. I mean, you ain't even gotta ask. You already know. I came across some information and I wanted to show. I went to Twitter with a picture thinking niggas would get it. And then Complex wrote an article to try to embarrass us. If I knew this shit was gonna blow up and rough with these fellas, I would've kept it to myself, gave Eric Dubé the credit. Astronauts was talking shit like they was trying to pull up. I took a step and looked around, the world was angry as fuck. I mean, bro, we could've played it off like it was all just a joke. When Stephen Colbert invited us, should've went there and spoke. CBS saw all the traction, tried to give us a show. But no, you turned all of that down cause you was trying to be woke. First of all, don't call me woke. I seen the shit they was plotting. They put Neil Tyson on TV to make a mockery of it. Yo, these shows be owned by Viacom and their friends. Why would I walk into the Lions Den, sit and pretend like they ain't threatened by my mind? Cause I ain't gonna comply. I mean, if I said the sky was purple, would it have been such a crime? Charlemagne the God and Lil Duval tried to tarnish my image. Could've just gave me a call. The whole music industry was rooting for me to fall. A nigga couldn't even go on tour. The venues wouldn't let me perform. I mean, you could've quit while you were ahead. You ain't have to make Flatline. And a part two, you're just asking for a bad time. You probably shouldn't have said all that shit about the Holocaust. Well, okay. And now the label is conspiracy theorists, anti-Semitic. Well, they're protesting shows, colleges canceling shows, radio stations boycotting, and they just pulled all my songs. I ain't mean to offend my fans. I was just asking questions. So many people in my ear under all types of pressure. Even black niggas was mad at me for questioning slavery. The Root magazine told lies on me flagrantly. Bill Nye took across and said you don't even science. How the fuck you gon' smack me built like Joe Byron? All I asked was why I never seen a slave ship. And they turned it into Bob says slavery don't exist. Yo, they had NASA at my shows, passing out flyers. CNN sent undercover spies just to inquire. Yeah, that's that TED Talk. Yeah, Oompa Loompa gobbledygook. I pulled up and then I just left with your soup. Oompa Loompa gobbledygook. This is what happened when you try to name snort cocaine.
So that was a music intermission. Actually, this rapper, Bob, B.O.B., he was a big time rapper, and then the conspiracy theorist thing got him. He started becoming a flat earther. So I guess he's making a comeback on that. So I know that was kind of out of left field, that song, but why not a dance break? Because now we're back to breaking news. In Chesapeake, Virginia, there was a manager in Walmart that walked into a break room and he started shooting employees, and then he killed himself. It's been multiple injuries. I mean, we definitely have media fatigue at this point, but yeah, this is bad. Walmart, man, I'm supposed to go there when I get off, dude. Like, be safe out there, guys. I got another one for you. Let's keep going.
So how's retiring?
To tell you the truth, fucking miserable.
Yeah, why is that?
Well, because aside from like my kids, family, and when I'm not boxing, I'm fucking miserable. Fucking miserable. For some strange reason, it's like boxing is like my savior. It's like, boxing, that's all I know. That's all I know. I started fighting when I was 5 years old, And so when I'm not thinking about boxing, when I'm not thinking about fighting somebody or training or, it's like, fuck, what do I go do? I'm going to go fucking destroy my life.
So that was Oscar De La Hoya. And yeah, when you have a profession that you love like that, I mean, geez, that's the good part about being a regular old worker. Your life's just so mundane and you can do it for 30, 40 years. Yes, that's how long we have to work here sometimes. But if you're doing like things you love and you have to walk away from it, it's kind of like they start being like us, like, well, now what do I do with myself? Like, yeah. Nobody that retires from regular jobs say, now what do I do with myself? They're like, I ain't doing nothing. I want to travel. I want to this and that. But these guys, they've lived such a high, and to come back to be a regular person without all the accolades, like chanting your name, and you're just a regular Joe Schmo. Sorry, Oscar. Welcome to the real world, my man. Let's get to the next one.
Had a couple of women pregnant and had an orgy after a fight. One of the ring girls that was there tested positive for HIV, so then she tracked down all of her former partners. I was one in the litany of them that she walks into the gyms like, hey, I'm HIV positive and you should go get tested. This is late 90s, early 2000s. I'm giving you broad dates to protect names.
Of course.
Yeah. And so it wasn't like you're positive or negative. It was actually, we're going to take some white blood cells counts over a few months to see if you are losing your immunity. So that sucked.
Holy shit.
So yeah, that was a boxer that had HIV because he was sleeping around, and one of the girls that he ended up getting hooking up with, he got something from her. So that was him just talking about his crazy life and just being out there with that. Let's get to the next one.
Your Honor, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to make you aware. I believe Jason Ventra was lighting up a glass pipe earlier.
Mr. Ventra? Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, I had to unmute my phone.
What were you smoking?
Smoking? Excuse me?
Yeah, you believe he was lighting up a glass pipe just now?
Not just now, approximately 15 minutes ago.
A glass pipe?
The coordinator believes she saw Ventro in the virtual court smoking something from a glass pipe while he waited for his case to be called. Ventro has an explanation.
No, Your Honor, I was not lighting no glass pipe. I was picking bumps on my face in the mirror.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll go back and look at it.
Okay, yes, please do.
All right. We'll go back and take a look at that.
Please do.
The coordinator checks the footage before the court considers further action. After Ventro logs in, he's seen holding what looks like a clear purple pen in his hand. He moves to the bathroom and places his phone on the counter, facing up. At first, it's unclear what's happening. Ventro's holding the pen up to his face. But then it becomes apparent that he is, in his own words, picking bumps. When Judge Simpson calls Ventro's case a few minutes later,
Court calls case Beaver versus Jason Ventro.
The judicial coordinator sets the record straight.
Ms. Chang, you wanted to say something to the court?
Judge, I apologize. I was mistaken. It was his camera angle.
All right. Thank you. All right. We reviewed it. That's why we review it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So my dude, even though he did look tweaked out, he was definitely just popping pimples with a pen. Weird. But yeah, strange. But now that they do Zoom court, what do you guys expect these people to do? Be sitting there? I mean, he was tweaking. Don't get me wrong, but he wasn't tweaking on camera. He was just popping zits. Let's get to our next one.
I used to carry a gram of cocaine in my boot at all times. And it was the first thing I thought of when I woke up in the morning and the last thing I thought of before I went to bed. I can remember thinking to myself at that point, wow, who knew 4 years ago that, that I would even be a part of anything that was this stupid. Your eyes were swimming in water. Everybody else thought you looked beautiful, but that's because everybody else was stoned. You didn't look beautiful. You looked high and unattractive. My only advice to anybody who is watching me talk right now is to say, save your money because it's going to cost you $50,000 to go to rehab because you will have to go or you'll die.
That was Stevie Nicks and her recovery. And dang, Stevie, $50K. Yeesh. Man.
You can't see Khalil, but he's holding Quella's phone, but you can see her laying in a hammock, okay? Now, she is asleep, okay? But I'm going to break this video down to you guys, and I'm going to give you guys my opinion about it all, okay? And how, it's just very weird. I ain't never seen no shit like this. And so when it was sent to me, I said, well, maybe, and then I replayed it back. Said maybe. Then I spoke to Mr. Bernard today, and then I told him about it, and then I sent him the video, and he like, Gerald, they set my baby up the whole time. Now I'm gonna play the video, then I'm gonna play the full video, but I want you guys to see this. Hold on. I want you guys to see. Now this is, hold on, y'all, hold on. Okay, this right here is, Khalil Cook. Okay? This is Khalil Cook. All right? This is Khalil Cook in this video. Okay? This is him in the video. He has Quella's phone. And I want you guys to see this. I want to play this, and then I want you guys to hear it, and I'm going to play the full video. Okay? Now, this is one of the stories, okay? But we'll get to that. Here we go.
We got our first day, buddy. Buddy. She too full.
Let me play that again.
We got our first day, buddy. Buddy. She too full.
I'm going to play it again. I'm going to play this one more time.
We got our first day, buddy. Buddy. She too full.
Now, at 8:45, this is Friday night, 8:45, Quella is asleep. At 9:40, she's in the house eating tacos and drinks. I'm going to play that video, then I'm going to go back and I'm going to explain to you guys what's going on, well, what I feel like is going on.
So he's just dissecting that Shanquella case even more. This guy was showing her passed out in a hammock after the fight, and they're just doing a timeline. You know, everybody has their own investigations going on. It is just unfortunate. I mean, the thing to take away from this is that if you have so-called friends that you want to go on a trip with, make sure they really are your friends. And I know people are terrible judges of characters when it comes to picking friends. And this can happen to anybody, but let this be a lesson before y'all booking these trips with these people that play nice nasty with you and they really don't like you. Let's get into our last video.
Here's something that'll save your marriage, guys. Never develop an emotional connection in real time or digitally with another woman, ever. Your wife is the only person on the planet besides your mom and your sisters, that deserve your emotion. Do not hand your emotion out to another woman. Your wife, your bride, deserves and demands your full engagement.
Well, I guess we're already cheating because I'm emotionally connected to you. I want to give you guys a prayer before we close out this week. I want to say, dear children of God, your home shall not be attacked. Your family and finances shall not be drained. The hand of the Lord is turning back the enemy in November. You're increasing and expanding, and December will be another level. Still, in the mighty name of Jesus, I want you guys to have a safe week. I want you to be prosperous, and sorry for the distraction. I mean, just reading some of this news about that another mass shooting, you know, this is like the 600th one. It's bad, and I'm just praying for all those victims, and I really hope that you guys are being safe. Hopefully some of these stories lighten your load. I mean, I try, but it's just the news has just been so dark lately. You guys stay safe and have a happy Thanksgiving if you are celebrating it. If not, you know, have a great weekend, and I will be back with you guys on Sunday night. F is for Family is signing off.